that was born in the hills of the hills of North America, a slave like us, with the DNA of a king, and like you and I have. That man that I'm speaking of today is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we thank the two of them in this modern hour for blessing us with a man that, he's really the man that taught me everything that I know. And he's the example of the man that I hope to one day become. And that man that I speak of today is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's in their holy and righteous names, my sisters and my brothers, that I greet you in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum. How's everybody doing today?
Fine, sir.
Before we begin, I wanted to ask if you all would join in giving a form of appreciation with a round of applause to our brother, President Gallo, for allowing us to be here today. Let's show some love to President Gallo. To our brother, the Vice President of Student Affairs, David Montan. Let's give our brother a round of applause. To Senior Class President, Brother Brian Jefferson. Let's show some love for Brother Brian. To our Student Advisor, Sister Dr. Cheryl E. Mango. There she is. Let's give our sister a round of applause. And I want you to give a big encouraging round of applause to keep this brother working hard on the battlefield for freedom, justice, and equality. Let's give it up for our NOI Student Association President, Brother Elijah. Thank you, Brother Elijah. Well, brothers, and is it okay if I just come down there? It's all right. Well, brothers and sisters, we are honored to be here at this wonderful institution of Grambling State University. Believe it or not, when I was growing up, around 15 or 16 years of age, they had some expensive HBCU sweatshirts. Y'all don't know about them.
Go ahead, bro.
Back then, if you paid more than $50 for a shirt, you was doing it big. And when I seen the Grambling State University, historically black college and university hoodie, I spent my hard-earned money, and I had me a Grambling hoodie.
Come on, yeah.
So I've been a G.
Go ahead.
You know, I had the G a little, but this was the school that I had in my mind growing up at 15 years of age that I wanted to attend to further my purpose for living. But you know the universal saying, when stuff goes a little different than what you planned and somebody start asking you about it, the traditional Negro opening phrases, what had happened was? Well, what had happened was, I got slapped on a rostrum when I was 17 years of age. Never wanted to ever be a minister, or never wanted to speak, never wanted to be in no form of leadership at all. And when I got put on the rostrum and asked to say something, I spoke at 17 years of age, only being 3 months in the nation. And when I was speaking, everybody was standing up and clapping, and I thought something was wrong with these people. And I left and I said, all right, I did it, I don't have to do it no more. But in my mind, there was a voice talking to me and said that this is what you're born to do. And because it was not necessary for me to continue to go through and get a college education, for me to be a student, servant, and soldier of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the ministry capacity, I never did fulfill coming to Grambling State to get my education. But it's an honor to finally get a chance to make it here to Grambling State University, to be with you all, in hopes that you all are here to fulfill your purpose for living. I want to say this, that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan made this statement one day. He said that I was looking up the definition of happiness. He said, no, not in the dictionary, but I consulted myself. I said, man, that's powerful.
Go ahead.
And then as he said it, I said, well, who in the hell is Webster anyway? that makes him so qualified to be able to give a definition to a word. And the minister said these words. He said, happiness comes when you have found your purpose for living and you are fulfilling that purpose. You will then have an unspeakable joy. So the math says, brothers and sisters, you say, well, how am I supposed to know what my purpose is? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it simple. He said, what you love to do and what you do well is more than likely what you're born to do. Your purpose is that single activity of life that you do well with the least amount of effort. You'll know whether or not you have found your purpose and are operating in your purpose because you don't care how rich you get from doing it. If someone gave you $100 million and you would not show up or continue to study what you're studying today, that's a sign that you have not found your purpose. But if somebody dropped $100 million on you and you said that, yeah, I'm going to use $100 million to invest it so I can become a better version of what I'm studying to become already, you have found your purpose for living. What that lesson tells us, brothers and sisters, is that real happiness does not come from feeling full the pocket. Real happiness comes whenever you fulfill your purpose. You'll be happier doing what you love for less money than doing what you don't really like and being rich. Does this make sense? Yes, so if whatever you came to school with is what you feel like you do well with the least amount of effort, if what you came to school for is what you love to do and what you do well and what you would be willing to keep doing even if you had $100 million in your bank account, then you are here in a course where you are set to fulfill your purpose and you will have an unspeakable joy at the end of your cycle of action. Yeah. But if you are here and in your mind you have chosen a particular field or a profession that you are entering into just because it pays $200,000, $300,000 a year and you're thinking about the money that you're going to make, you need to renegotiate your contract. And find that thing that you really love to do. And that you do well and begin committing your life to that particular course of action. Because I'm going to tell you a secret. If you are doing what you really love to do, you will end up becoming so good at it that even though you are willing to do it for free, people will pay you big money for you to do it. Yes. Does that make sense? So I had in my mind the whole subject. But when I came walking behind the curtain, I believed that God rearranged my mind and rearranged my thoughts. And I wanted to share a few principles with all of you as you are embarking upon the beginning phases of adulthood, getting ready to go into fulfilling your purpose for living, looking to have, hopefully, an unspeakable joy and not just get a bunch of stuff, but get real happiness for your life. Number one principle that I wanted to share with everybody today is, in this world that you live in, you're going to find where people will tell you that experience is the best teacher. That's a bold-faced lie. Experience might be the most effective teacher, but experience is not the best teacher. Did y'all hear me? There's a verse in the Holy Quran that says this. It says, travel the earth and study the ends of those that have gone before you. That's right. See, you've never seen a commercial for Benz, Porsche, for Chrysler or Ford, and whenever they want to prove to you how good the airbags and the seatbelt work, you find the CFO or the CEO or the owner of the company in behind the car driving the thing full speed into a wall. Have you ever seen that before? You've never seen a scientist inside of a laboratory making a concoction to see what it would do. And whenever they blend up the chemicals, they decide to take a sip of it themselves to see how it works. Right. No, that scientists always have what they call guinea pigs. Right. Is that right? Yeah. Lab rats. Right. What? And just for the record, we talking about black power. That's right. Yes, sir. Notice that whenever you go, if you ever go into the world of chemistry, when white people are developing medicine, they always do experiments on white mice. They never experiment on the black mouse. It's because they know from the Mendelian law that black is dominant and white is recessive. Brown eyes are dominant and blue eyes are recessive. Black hair is dominant, blonde hair is recessive. So since they know that they are born with the recessive, then they want to experiment on a creature that matches their recessive. So when they are coming up with a cure, they are looking for figuring out whether it works real good on the white mouse. Because the white mouse is closer to the nature of the white man. And then when they take their experimentation to the highest level, they do what they call experimentation on what's called a research monkey. What?
Come on.
You take one of them chimpanzees and shake it down and put a suit on them and tell me you don't see George W. Bush. Huh? Even white folks have a saying. If somebody pulls something over, they say, well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. Well, wait a minute. If you're the monkey's uncle, then your brother was the monkey's father. We didn't come from monkeys. Monkeys came from them. So the lab scientist, he does not experiment on himself. The man that owns Chrysler, the CFO, the CEO of business, they don't drive the car into the wall as experience is the best teacher. They don't use that philosophy. When you see the commercial and they want to show off the safety features or the collapsing frame or the side airbags or the seatbelt, they have the little plastic figures in there with them black and yellow stickers all over. Call them what? Crash dummies. Is that right? A crash what? So what's the lesson? The lesson is that whenever we are learning from experience, we have made ourselves into dummies. So there's a saying from the Gospel of Big Mama.
Come on.
What?
Teach on Big Mama.
You didn't know Big Mama had a gospel too? Big Mama got she it's some stuff that Big Mama said that's just as true as what is in the Bible and the Holy Quran.
Come on.
Birds of a feather?
Yeah.
See, that's not in the scripture, that's Big Mama talking. But is it the truth?
That's the truth.
If you lie down with dogs, you're going to get up with?
Please.
See, that's not the Quran, that's Big Mama talking. Is that right?
That's right.
Sisters, you know if Big Mama see you messing with a little boy and you seem to be getting a little too fast for your own good, she'll tell you, let me talk to you for a second. Let me tell you something, little girl. Why would he buy the cow when he can get the milk for free? That's Big Mama's gospel. And then you as a little boy in the family, and he catch you with messing with these little fast girls, then she'll tell you, let me tell you something. A woman will either make you or break you. That's the gospel of Big Mama. A family that prays together. That's not Quran, that's Big Mama knew what she was talking about. Big Mama also said this. She said that a fool learns from their own mistakes, while wise people learn from others. See, what Big Mama is telling us is that experience is not the best teacher. Learning from other people's mistakes is the best teacher. So in the Holy Quran, when it says travel the earth and study the ends of those that have gone before you, that is a good formula, especially at the age you are right now, to reach your maximum level of achievement before you leave the planet. That's what happened to me when I was coming up. When I was coming up, of course y'all heard I didn't go to college, but when I was growing up, I was in the hood like most of us came from. So in my neighborhood, everybody sold dope. So when I was 10 and 11 years old, I was selling weed. By the time I was 16, I was selling powder cocaine. And me and my partner, we used to sell a half ounce on the weekdays and an ounce on the weekends.
Go ahead, bro.
Now, if anybody know anything about what that, I'm saying that's $5,000 plus per week.
Yes, sir.
as a teenager, that's the kind of money that we were getting.
Go ahead.
But what I noticed, brothers and sisters, is that as I was selling dope, which was killing my people,
Come on.
I felt myself dying on the inside while I was killing my brothers and sisters.
Yes.
So one day I was sitting on the porch, and a thought popped into my mind. And the thought was this. It was a question. I wonder what the dope fiends were doing when they were my age.
Wow. Good question.
And this day, instead of going to post up at the trap spot with dope, I decided that, you know what? I'm going to take a tour of the hood, and I'm just going to interview all the brothers and the sisters that's on dope. I went to the trap house, and in the back, they was sitting out there, and I said, brother, let me ask you a question. What were you doing whenever you were my age? This is the dope thing now. And he said, oh, young blood, when I was your age, I was getting it just like you. Red flag. Then I went to the liquor store. And I asked those that was outside of the liquor store, brother, let me ask you, what were you all doing whenever you were my age?
Come on.
And they said, oh, when we were your age, we was getting money just like you. I said, so you said you was hustling? He said, yeah, we was hustling. So a thought came to my mind that if I'm doing what they were doing
Come on.
when they were my age,
Yes, sir.
then I'm en route to be doing what they are doing when I'm their age.
Right. Oh, brother.
And I don't know if y'all ever heard down here in Louisiana of a dude on YouTube called Bishop Woolwin. He got a song called Hell No.
Yes, sir.
To the no, no.
Yes, sir.
To the no, no, no. It wasn't out back then, but that's what I said to myself. And I made my mind up that day that if my end result after selling dope was that I was going to be on the dope that I was selling, I had to make my mind up to stop it altogether. So when you are thinking about, as you're moving and maneuvering in what you do, travel the earth and study the what? Ends of those that have gone before you. That means that you got to find people that you don't want to be like. That's what I did, right?
Right.
And interview them and ask them what they were doing whenever they were your age. And if when you interview them, you find that you are doing the same thing they were doing whenever they were your age, then you got to renegotiate your bad habits. Because if you don't renegotiate your habits, what you are doing today is planting seeds to produce what you're going to be tomorrow. So if you don't want to end up as them, you got to renegotiate your habits because you're en route to being what you don't want to be. But on the flip side of it, brothers and sisters, you have to find other people that you do want to be like. Are y'all with me? So whatever you're in school for, if it is your purpose for living, if it's that single activity that you do well with the least amount of effort, if it's that thing that you love to do and that you do well, if it's the thing that if somebody gave you $100 million, you would still stay on your grind, still pursue your education, and still want to do it after you got out of school.
That's right.
Find people that are already successful at that particular field. And you want to interview them and ask them the same question that I asked the dope fiend. What were you doing? Who remembers? When you were my age.
That's right.
And what you're going to find, brothers and sisters, is that if you want to be an engineer and you interview an engineer, if you want to be an architect and you interview an architect, if you want to be an investor and you interview a successful black investor, what you're going to find is not only will they tell you what they did when they were your age, but they'll also add to it what they wish they would have done. And then they'll tell you some things that they wish they would not have done. And don't you know, brothers and sisters, if you find somebody that is already successful at what you are trying to be, and they tell you what they did, what they wish they would have did, and then tell you the things they wish they would not have done, if you eliminate the things that they say were mistakes, do the things that work, and then add to the things what they wish they would have done, you will become them faster than they ever became themselves. Does this make sense? And I'm going to tell you a secret. Not only is it important for you to observe those you do want to be like and those you don't want to be like, duplicate the ones, model the ones that are successful, and renegotiate your habits if you find someone you don't want to be like. But it's also important to remember this. Has anybody ever heard of a man named Napoleon Hill? He wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill was hired by Andrew Carnegie to study the 500 most successful people in the world for 20 to 25 years. And after studying the most successful people in the world for 20 to 25 years, he found there were 16 different traits that were most common among them, and the top two were, number one, they were operating in their purpose. And number two principles, it was this: leaders are readers. All of them stayed keeping their mind studying, reading material. Are y'all with me?
Yes, sir.
Did you know, brothers and sisters, that the brain is a muscle?
Yes, sir.
Eight people on that. Did y'all know the brain was a muscle? 3 people over here, or we in trouble. Brothers and sisters, the brain is a muscle. She said you got to exercise. See, if the brain is a muscle, that means that the brain muscle functions under the same logic of every other muscle.
Come on.
Anybody in here work out? Raise your hand. Okay, anybody in here ever worked out? Raise your hand. If you ain't raised yourself, you got to exercise, huh? But what do you do when you want to build your leg muscles up? What's the Okay, y'all did go to the gym before. If you want to get the biceps right, what do you do?
Curls.
Right? If you want to build your chest up, press. Right? Is that true?
Yes, sir.
If you want to be able to get the tricep muscle, push downs. Y'all all right? You want your calves to get stronger. You do what? Calf raises, toe-ups. So every muscle has an appropriate exercise that increases its strength over time. Well, question is, if the brain is a muscle, what is the appropriate exercise that makes the brain strong? Since at the end of the day, the brain must be the most important of all muscles. Because it's the only one we use in everything we do. There's many things we can do where we can use our arms and not our legs and not our arms, our stomach and not our shoulders, but there's nothing we can do in life that does not involve the use of the brain muscle. So if the brain is used in everything we do, it must be the most important muscle. So more important than a pull-up or a push-up or a squat or a sit-up or a leg raise or a toe lift, it's got to be what exercises the brain. And that's what exercise is. Reading that exercises the brain. Y'all still all right? So, leaders are readers. Do you know that if you open a book, does anybody got a book? Anybody brought a book? If you got one, let me see it real quick. Let me borrow it real quick. Y'all can see this. You see how I left all my stuff? This is a whole different message than what I thought I was going to do. Thank you, Simon. Oh, it's a hardback. Notice that if you open up a book, it looks kind of like a bird. What? No, I'm talking about the bird that you used to draw when you couldn't draw that good. You remember when you used to draw the palm trees and that sunset, and you put them little things, you know what I'm talking about. That kind of bird. Is that true?
That's true.
Have you ever heard of a saying called the bird's eye view?
Yes.
Yes, right.
See, the bird's eye view is whenever someone is high in knowledge and wisdom and they hover above the level that normal people operate on.
Come on, brother.
If you check in a hotel and you ask them for the presidential suite, you're not going to be by the gift shop. Top floor. You go downtown to the government building and ask where the mayor's office is, he's at the top floor. You go to luxury apartments down in any major city downtown and you ask them to take me to the penthouse suite, it's always the top floor. Well, why do the shot callers, why do the rich and the powerful, why do they always want to be way up in the air? It's because the higher you are up, the farther you can see. The higher you are up, the things that are big to other people look small to you. The higher you are up, the more you can calculate and consider what's beside you, behind you, and what's coming in front of you. So whenever you start reading doesn't raise you physically, but it raises you mentally. That's right. Where you begin operating from a penthouse suite, from a presidential suite, you have that bird's eye view. So what looks big to others looks small to you. Yes. Do you know that whenever you're flying, you can get there faster than whenever you're driving? Because when you're driving, you got to deal with traffic. But if you're hovering, you can get, is this the truth? So, the lesson, brothers and sisters, is that the more knowledge that you get, the farther you can see and the faster you can reach your goal and your destination. Did y'all get that? Now, this next principle, and we got two more principles, and then we're going to open up the floor for a little Q&A. Is that okay with y'all? This third principle is this. There's a Bible verse in the book of Hebrews that says this. A mirror reflects a man's face, but who a person really is determined by the kind of friends that he chooses.
Come on.
Now we go back to the gospel of Big Mama. What did she say? Birds of a feather what? See, you cannot be one way and be around people that are a certain way, and either they're going to become you or you're going to become them, but ain't nobody staying the same.
Right. Come on.
So there's a book publisher by the name of Charlie Jones that said this. He said, by writing and publishing books for 20-some years, I learned that a human being can predict what they're going to be in the next 5 years. All they have to do is take the information in the books that they've read and multiply it by the characteristics of their 5 closest friends. And whatever the characteristics are of their 5 closest friends, multiplied by the books that they read, will equal what that brother and sister is going to be in the next 5 years. He went even farther and proved the point that he took a group of people to verify that it was legit and let them read what they read and hang around who they hung around with. And not only did they become a mixture of the books they read and their 5 closest friends, but their income was the average of the income of the 5 closest friends they had. So if you want to be broke,
Hang around broke.
get you 5 broke people to kick it with all the time.
Come on.
Do y'all hear me? But if you want to be wise, if you want to be powerful, if you want to be wealthy, then you got to start associating yourself with people that are on what you own.
That's right.
Does this make sense? Last but not least, this principle, if you adopt this as your mindset, there will be nothing in life that you want to be, do, or have that you will not be able to achieve. My teacher, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, said this. He said that there is nothing more powerful than a made-up mind. Black power. See, power, according to physics, is a formula that says P equals W/T, or power equals work divided by time. In other words, power equals speed. So if you ever want to find out what the most powerful object is in the universe, all you have to do is locate what the fastest moving object in the universe is, and you have found the most powerful object. I said from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that there's nothing more powerful than a what? Than a made up mind. Let's see if we can prove it to be true. Today we came from Shreveport over to Grambling and we were in an automobile. Cars can go up to 230, 240 miles per hour depending on what kind of car you have. That's fast. And if you find a car that only goes 100 and then you find another car that goes 220, if you open the hood of both of the cars, you will see inside of the one that goes faster that it has a bigger engine. And because it has a bigger engine, that car has more power. So power and speed go together. Yesterday we flew in on another mode of transportation. That's an airplane. An airplane travels on the average of 500 miles per hour. So by the law of power equals speed, a plane has more power than a car. Would you agree?
Yes, sir.
Did you know that if you shoot a gun, the average speed of a bullet is 700 miles per hour? When you shoot the gun, you see fire coming from it as a symbol of power. So by the law of speed equals power, then the bullet has more power than the plane. And the plane has more power than the... But there's something else in the universe that got the bullet, the plane, and the car beat. Guess what it is? See, you're listening to me right now. This is sound. Sound travels at 1,120 feet per second.
Go ahead.
So by the law of power equals speed, we would have to say that words have more power than a bullet, than a plane, and than a car. Do you know how powerful words are? Words are so powerful when the scientists were trying to figure out how to find something in the known world to let us know how powerful God was. They couldn't find nothing to compare God to but the Word. So in John 1:1 it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. The Word was with God, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among me. That means that whatever God can do, you and I can do with words. Y'all not hearing me? In fact, that's what God has always used to bring stuff into existence. Whenever it was dark and he wanted to see the light, he didn't hope or wish for it. And God said, let there be light. Is that right? God said, let the firmament come from out of the earth. Even when it came time for man to be made in the 26th verse of the first chapter of Genesis, and God said, let us make man. The Holy Quran says it like this, that when God deems a thing, he simply says to it, be, and it is. What this is telling us, brothers and sisters, is that words are so powerful that words don't just describe reality, but by the law of substitution, you can use words to bring things into existence. That's how powerful your words are. So, sound was moving faster than the what? The bullet. The bullet was moving faster than and the plane had more power, moving faster than but there's something else in the universe that has the sound, the bullet, the plane, and the car beat. Guess what it is? Somebody said something, we get to what you said. Believe it or not, brothers and sisters, it's the earth that we're standing on right now. Did you know that we live on a planet that's 24,896 miles in circumference? 7,926 miles in diameter. It has 57,255,000 square miles of land that's thick about 185,685,000 square miles of water. And when you break that water down, 68,634,000 square miles is called Pacific Ocean. 41,321,000 square miles is the Atlantic Ocean. 29,430,000 square miles is the Indian Ocean. There's 1 million square miles of lakes and rivers, 4,861,000 square miles of desert, 1,910,000 square miles of islands. And with that much land and water, the earth travels on its own axis every 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 46 seconds, making one revolution because it moves at the terrific speed of 1,037 and 1/3 miles per hour. That's fast. So, technically, if power is speed, the planet had more power than sound. The sound had more power than the bullet. The bullet had more power than and the plane had more than the car. But there's something else. Somebody said it earlier. Light. Did you know the sun, the great symbol of light in the universe, is 93 million miles away from Earth? 853,000 miles in diameter, with 10 to 20,000 mile high flames coming off of its surface, burning at 14,072 degrees. And one ray of light can travel from the sun to the earth 93 million miles in 8 minutes and 20 seconds, or 500 seconds flat, because light travels at 186,000 miles per second. That's fast. So if power equals work divided by time, or power equals speed, then we would have to say that light had more power than earth, and the earth had more power than sound, and the sound had more power than the bullet had more power than and the plane had more power. But there's nothing more powerful than a what? A made up. Let's see if it's the truth. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said this. He said, thought travels on the average of 24 billion miles per second. Brothers and sisters, there is nothing in the universe moving faster than 24 billion miles per second. Well, if the mind is made up of thoughts, and thought is the fastest moving object in the universe, it's not a self-esteem booster, it's not some warm, fuzzy cliche. There really is nothing more powerful than a made up mind. So I'm saying that to you, all of you, that if you really want, you already are black, you can't do nothing about that. But if you want to be black and have some black power, then you have to begin thinking the right thoughts. Did you hear what I'm trying to say? And don't you know, brothers and sisters, that the average human being, they say, thinks 60,000 thoughts a day? If I'm thinking 60,000 thoughts a day, and these thoughts are traveling on the average of 24 billion miles per second, and they are moving in a circular way inside of my brain around my 14 billion brain cells, since all cells are shaped like circles, anything moving in a circular motion produces two forces. One's called centrifugal and the other centripetal. Centrifugal force is when an object spins and repels things away from it. Centripetal is when an object spins and sucks things into it. So if you ever look up and study the original Xbox or the original PlayStation, known as the merry-go-round, y'all don't know about no merry-go-round. Y'all, you know what I'm talking about? The part, the thing that spins around. Back when you were growing up, you knew that if you got on that thing and somebody's going to spin that around, centrifugal force to get hold of you. So if you get somebody that know how to really get that thing going, and then you say, what? Get to the middle. Get to the why? Because the faster it spins, it throws you off. That's centrifugal force.
Come on.
But when a tornado lands in Louisiana, the tornado doesn't kick things out. It sucks things in and breaks it off. That's centrifugal force. I'm saying something to you, students of Grambling State University, black man and black woman, that your brain, your mind is so powerful that when you've got 60,000 thoughts in your mind moving at 24 billion miles per second, it produces centrifugal and centripetal force. What it means is that whatever you're thinking about most of the time, you begin to attract to yourself people, situation, and circumstance that match the nature of what you think. Right. And you begin repelling people, situation, and circumstances opposite of what you think. Right. So if you want to be rich and powerful and successful, if you want to have black power, all you have to do is think rich thoughts, powerful thoughts, successful thoughts, thoughts of black power, and you will find that you will become a magnet. And you will begin to draw to yourself the people, the situation, and circumstances into your life, that you will be able to turn your thought into things, because it is a mathematical procedure that takes place whether we like it or not. All of our thoughts will become words. All of our words will become actions. All of our actions will become our habits. Our habits will become our character, and our character is what's going to dictate our destiny or our future. So I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters, all praise in the future of life. If you want to have black power, You and I must get a knowledge of ourselves. We got to learn about the people that look like us that accomplished great feats in the past. Because in our mind, we began to think that if they can do it, so can I. Y'all all right? And if you multiply knowledge of self times a made-up mind, there will be nothing in life that you want to be, do, or have that you will not be able to achieve. We've been programmed on a subliminal, subconscious level to hate everything that's black and love everything that's white. So in the 60s, with the mantra, black power was invented, it was designed to be a defense mechanism against the psychological warfare that we had been a victim of that caused us to hate ourselves. When we say Black Lives Matter, this is a mantra, a hashtag, it's a slogan to respond to the fact that it's obvious to everybody else that our life don't seem to mean nothing to us. When we said that I'm black and I'm proud, we were trying to fight self-hatred. When we said that I'm young, gifted, and black, we were trying to go to war with the subliminal programming. In our mind, we've been told, and we didn't even know we were the victim of it. Every time the adjective black is attached to anything, it always ends up being something negative and bad on the end. So if you get kicked out of a fraternity or sorority, you've been blackballed. Old movies, the good guys wear white, the bad guys wear, is that right? You're going to a funeral where you wear black, you're going to a wedding to celebrate, you do what? You wear white. If you're having bad luck, you're behind the 8 ball, right? And the 8 ball is the black ball, and the black ball, the 8 ball, is the last ball that goes in the game of pool. Am I telling the truth? Matter of fact, if you hit the 8 ball in too early, you lose the game altogether. But if you ever played a little pool and you put some money in the side, you'll notice that while you're playing pool, if you scratch, which means the cue ball, the white ball, goes into the pocket too early, it'll come back to you. But if you accidentally knock in a strike, it won't come back. Why would the cue ball come back and the other ones won't? It's because the cue ball, the white ball, is the ball that is bigger in size and has more weight than all of the other balls. When they invented the game of pool, they were trying to program subliminally us for life. So the green felt represents the whole planet. And what they're saying is that white people's job is to put everybody in their place. Y'all not hearing what I'm telling you. This is subliminal programming to white supremacy, black inferiority. You go and get you some of them little snacks. Them little devils. Little devils. Huh? You get you some little devils. And you get you some angel food cake. White cake with white ice. But go get some devil food cake. Chocolate cake. Chocolate. See, it's programming. If you set somebody up, if you frame somebody, you blackmail them. When the stock market crashed, it was called black money. When you selling stuff illegal in bootleg, you selling stuff on the black market. Y'all understand what I'm trying to say? So I'm saying that to us, we have to go back and be reprogrammed.
That's right.
And unfortunately, brothers and sisters, it's easy for us to lie, steal, sell dope, and kill each other because we have never been taught to love each other. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it like this: the simple formula to stop all black on black crime, black on black homicide, black on black death, black on black wrongdoing, all it takes is knowledge of self. And knowledge of self will produce love for self. And love for self will cause us to start doing right by ourselves. And since our brother, you are my brother, base word of brother, drop the first 2 letters, is other. My brother is my other self. So if I know me, love me, and am doing right by me, I'm going to treat my other me the same. I can't rob my other me. Can't shoot my other me. That's me. Does this make sense? So I'm saying today, no matter what you learn from Grambling, you got to have a whole other study program that teaches you about the rich legacy of black people. Otherwise, we will leave out of Grambling with a piece of paper, but not have no real black power to go with that piece of paper. Y'all with me? Do you know that black and white children both start school the same way? Both the black and the white child, when they first start school, they both grab hold of their mama's leg. Neither one of them want to go. And then when they get peeled off, both the black and the white child, they walk away real timid.
Teach on that, brother.
With their head down, moving real slow. Am I telling the truth, mothers? They both the black and the white child. But notice that as that black and that white child begin to matriculate through 12 years of the public food system, what? Did I say something wrong? Notice that both of them are taught the same education. They learn about George Washington, a white man. Thomas Jefferson, a white man. Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Thales, Newton, Einstein. So you'll notice that as the black and the white child began to move through school, the white child, as they began to learn about people that looked like them, that accomplished great feats in the past by use of their spiritual peripheral vision, they are said on a subconscious level, well, if a white man did that yesterday and I'm a white boy today, then when I grow up in today, I can do what he did and even did something. So when that white boy leaves out of school, he leaves with his chest held high, his head back, his shoulders back, ready to go out and conquer the known world. But that little black child, because the little black child learned about white people, but never learned about somebody that looked like themselves, that accomplished great feats in the past, when he leaves school, he's still moving slow, his head is down, and now his pants is down too.
Yes, come on, black man.
But what would happen if the little black boy was to learn about Shaka Zulu,
Yes, sir.
Queen Nzinga,
Yes.
Imhotep, Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? See, if that black child was fed a rich legacy of what people that looked like him did in the past, when he left school, his chest would be out. His head will be held high, and he will go out ready to be a conqueror of the known world. So I'm saying that while you are here studying whatever discipline you are studying, do for yourself as a homework assignment. Go and read about Imhotep. Study Shaka Zulu. Study Nefertiti. Study Imhotep. Study the great, rich legacy of black people and find Timbuktu. We built that. Go and study the city of Atlantis. Black people built that. Go and read about the Nile Valley civilization. We built that. Go home today and look up the Pyramid Giza. 451 feet tall, 451 feet deep, covering 13.5 acres of land, made of 1,000,000 3.5-ton blocks of gold, granite, and marble, stacked mathematically precise, up and down, east and west, not even deviating 1 square inch. And black people built it without John Deere or Caterpillar. We didn't have no cranes or boats. We built it with the power of our mind. Go read about the Sphinx, that has a body of a lion with the head of a black man on it. And written underneath the black man's head, it says, Abu El-How in Arabic, which means father of everything. And I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, if you are doing what you love to do, and what you do well, if you're engaged in studying that single activity of life that you do well with the least, if you're operating in your purpose, and you multiply that by a knowledge of yourself and by a made-up mind. When you leave Grambling, I'm not looking at future millionaires. I'm looking at future billionaires. I'm not looking at future CEOs and CFOs. I'm looking at the future rulers of the planet. And if you do that, that's what real black power is all about. It's not a fist in the air. It's not kneeling at a football game. Real black power is when we build a nation for our own. Thank you for listening. I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, brothers and sisters. Thank you. All praise that I greet you along. Well, are we doing good?